Hello everybody, it's your non-binary pal Grace Eva here, and I thought to celebrate one of my favorite times of the year that I would share a spooky story, but not just any story, my own story of when I and my family visited Tombstone. This happened a couple years ago, and we decided to go specifically for the Birdcage Theater, said to be extremely haunted. Before that, we also explored some of the shops and a museum, the museum being really cool. I'm not the best at history, but I do really like looking at all the objects that were actually made and used in those times. The night of the tour, we all put on our costumes, which were cowboy themed, of course, and went to the tour. While we were waiting, we actually saw some cool gemstones on display, which were supposed to be from the mines. The tour guide came in after a bit, started telling us all about the theater. Some of the things I remember are all the gunshots on the wall, the fact that these higher places, things, balconies, I think, were often for the rich, posh people, a piano played by performers, and if the performers didn't play well enough, they would literally get killed right then and there, and the basement. The basement had this big carriage in it, which was said to be haunted by a child, I think. Now, before we continue, I wanted to talk about the first creepy incident I had here. I haven't said it yet, but I'm sure some of you are wondering if I am a skeptic or a believer. I do like to believe in ghosts. However, I do have a skeptic side of my brain that will always try to rationalize what something was first before deciding if it's paranormal or not. And I do also like thinking of like the scientific example or scientific explanation of what the paranormal could be. It's just a fun little thought experiment I have sometimes, like, what is the science behind ghosts? Because in history, a lot of things that we thought were magical was just, science and nature. So who knows? Maybe it's just a part of science we haven't figured out yet. But for some reason, I got the strangest feeling when looking at the carriage. I don't know why. When I took a picture, there wasn't anything there, but it was just really strange. And I almost felt a little weary about turning my back to it, which is also really weird because I'm not that much of an energetic person, so I don't know what was happening there. But anyway, moving on to the rest of the basement, there was this little area meant to recreate a poker night right next to the creepiest room I had ever seen. It was closed, but there was this little window I think you could look through, and I took a picture. Now, I hadn't actually looked at the picture since I first took it, and I don't remember seeing anything, but we'll see when I put it in the edit here. After the tour, it was time for the haunting. We were all set up in the upstairs area, and me and my family were seated with our back right to the piano, which I found a little ironic. If you didn't know, I'm a pianist and I've been playing for over 10 years. This will be important later. The tourist had a bunch of different little gadgets, including a ghost detector, which was also behind us, and this little light-up puppy thing. The tourist was talking to the ghost, and while they were, the light-up puppy was going off like crazy, specifically in one spot though, making me think it might have actually just been glitching, but it could also be a clearer sign that someone was talking to us. I don't know. I was taking a bunch of pictures and videos, and for the most part, there wasn't anything there. After a while, the lights were dimmed all the way, and the tourist gave us and the ghost room to talk. I did start hearing some strange noises, but it became pretty clear it was just people outside. Although everyone stayed pretty quiet, I decided I wanted to chat a little with some ghosts. Because I was pretty nervous, the only thing I could think of was to talk to whatever piano ghost might be behind us, which I believe I also captured my ramblings of. I did this for a good few minutes, and then my mom said she felt something cold right behind her. She quickly took a photo before the cold went away, and this is what she captured. Now, I don't know about you, but this just looks like a whole face to me. Like, I can see a hat and mustache and everything. Like, what? The freakiest part, though, was that out of everyone, I'm pretty sure my mom was the closest to the piano, meaning that this could have very well been the spirit of a dead pianist, the exact one I was trying to talk to. And like I said, I do try to rationalize unexplained stuff before going to paranormal as the explanation, and I could see how the pictures I took might not have been anything, but I have no explanation for this. Unless the place had some crazy light technology, which could only show up on cameras, I don't think that exists. So yeah, that was a very crazy thing that happened, and the fact that I might have been the one to cause that with my insane nervous ramblings make me think, what else I have summoned with my incoherent ramblings. After the tour was over, my mom even showed the picture to the next tourists, and they were pretty freaked out. The scariest part though was actually having to walk back to our Airbnb, since it was completely night and dark and the streets were all empty. Now, a scene like this is definitely something I would love trying, but not actually being in, since I don't actually like being out at night at all. Luckily, we were able to get there, and that was the end of our trip to Tombstone. I hope you enjoyed this short little story time video. I actually wanted to talk about this like 2 years ago when we actually went, but didn't get the time then or last year, so now it is. The artwork I'm showing here is actually one I made right after the trip, inspired by the graveyard that we visited first, and I took a bunch of videos of. That place was really cool, and some stuff in the museum as well. This is actually on my Etsy shop as a cool canvas print. If you wanted to check that out, I have that on my Etsy shop. And I have my comics, my webcomics stuff, and yeah, that's pretty much it. I will see you all in the next video. Bye!